أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربي أنتكنا بالهدى وألهمنا التقوى السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. I begin in the name of Allah, the most kind, the most merciful. It's due to that kindness and mercy that He gives us these opportunities where we gather in remembrance and in glorification of Him, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Before we get into what we are going to be discussing for the rest of Shahru Ramadhan, I want to take this opportunity to advise myself and to advise all of you to pay attention to where we are on the Islamic calendar. We are now officially over halfway done with Shahru Ramadan. And it's a really important time for some introspection, right? Because as God has said, that this is the month in which every bounty of His is available for us to take and utilize in improving ourselves to become better human beings. And so one of the questions that I ask myself, and I urge our community to ask themselves as well, is that what have I gained so far in the first 15 days of Shahru Ramadan? I think I discussed this yesterday at JCC, but I wanted to discuss it here as well, and I'm sure maybe Maulana did as well. Like, what have I gained, right? Like, honestly, that's like a really gut check question, right? Like, what have I gained over the last 15 days? Have I been able to control my temper over the last 15 days? Have I gained insight into religion? Have I gained insight into God? Have I gained insight into God consciousness or taqwa? Have I gained insight into sincerity in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Everything is available, right? If all I've gained is weight, that's a problem, because a lot of people in Ramadan, they don't really lose weight, they gain a couple of pounds, right? Because they eat and sleep, that's all we do, right? And so if all I've gained is that, if all I've gained is hunger and thirst, then what a waste of Shahru Ramadan for me, So ask yourself this question, what have I gained? And then secondly, I think another important question to ask as well is that what am I striving for the rest of the way, right? We have to set targets, we have to set goals, we have to set benchmarks. That's the only way spiritual progression happens. Spiritual progression doesn't happen randomly or by chance. Spiritual progression happens when I create a plan and then I work towards fulfilling that plan. Just like a retirement savings, right? I can't just one day assume I'm going to inherit all this money and I'll have a retirement. That's never going to happen. I have to work on it, right? And it starts off slowly, right? So for example, I invest $2,000 a year, and then hopefully the stock market takes over and does the rest of its magic, right? No one's asking us to be malaika or angels overnight, but take small steps. Things that were not going well, you work on that going forward. Things that could be better, you work on that going forward. And I think that we have to look at this opportunity very seriously to try and make the most of this opportunity that we have. And inshallah, we will do that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The topic that I have selected for the rest of these nights is the letter or the order that Imam Ali alayhi salam wrote to Malik al-Ashtar. Yeah? And it's found in letter number 53 of Nahjul Balagha. And it is something that I think we all have to have read at least once in our lives. And if we haven't read, then we're missing out on something amazing. And we have to study it more than just read it, because I've read it, and then when upon studying it, that's why I love what I do, to be quite honest. People ask me, do I like being a resident alim? I love being a resident alim. I feel like God created me to do this job, not necessarily here, but just generally, right? That And the reason why I say that is because, I don't wing lectures, I prepare lectures, and in that process of preparing, I spend hours researching, I spend hours studying, and so I'm constantly studying, right? And that's why I love this job. There's nothing better in life than studying. If you ask anybody who has a chance to not worry about finances and not worry about bills and not worry about life and just study, they would prefer studying, right? Because you're constantly gaining knowledge. And like I've said, there's no sweeter knowledge than the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There isn't, man. Honestly, like I did a bachelor's degree, and while I was doing my bachelor's degree, man, I was praying every day, Ya Allah, let me finish. Yeah? Let me finish, because I was just doing it to get a degree, But then once I went to the Hawza, I would pray every day, Ya Allah, don't let this finish. Don't let this finish. Because every day you're tasting God's mercy. You're tasting the love of God, and there's nothing sweeter than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so that's why I love this job. I love what I do because I'm forced to research. And upon researching this letter, man, I'm blown away. I'm seriously blown away at what the Imam talks about in this letter. And so we're going to be dissecting it. We're not going to come close to finishing it. I'll continue it in Shawwal, maybe Dhul Qa'dah as well, and then we'll have to put it aside as Dhul Hijjah comes around. But even then, up to Dhul Qa'dah, we will not come even halfway to finishing the profoundness that is this letter or the order to Malik al-Ashtar. This is how it starts in Nahj al-Balagha. It says, وَمِن كِتَابٍ لَهُ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ كَتَبَهُ لِأَشْتَرِ النَّخَعِ رَحِمَهُ اللَّهِ. He says, it is written by Imam Ali alayhi salam for al-Ashtar al-Nakha'i, when the position of Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr had become precarious. It doesn't say that necessarily, and this is a translation that's not exactly word for word accurate, but we will discuss exactly when this was penned in detail today. Today we're giving more of a historical background to this letter. So Muhammad bin Abi Bakr was the governor of Egypt, and when his situation there became turmoiled, Imam alayhi salam appointed al-Ashtar as the governor of Egypt and the surrounding areas. وَهُوَ أَطْوَلُ أَهْدٍ كَتَبَهُ وَأَجْمَعَهُ لِلْمَحَاسِنِ. And it is the longest document that the Imam had penned, or at least that he had penned, that has come to us. And it is filled with beautiful sayings. Most of the one-liners that we are very familiar with about Imam Ali alayhi salam, right? Like for example about you're either your brothers in faith or brothers in humanity. It comes from this letter, right? A lot of the other one-liners that are really profound as far as society and the relationship between humans is concerned comes from this letter. So we're going to enjoy it, inshallah. So today, as I said, we're going to look at it just from a historical background. The first thing we're looking at is the authenticity of this letter. According to many scholars, this is the most popular work penned by Imam Ali. And when we talk about popular, what we're talking about is that in many, many other books, this letter is found. It's not just found in the book that was compiled by Sharif al-Radi, which is known as Nahj al-Balagha. Rather, when we look at other books prior to Sharif al-Radi's compilation, rather even prior to the birth of Sharif al-Radi, and then even after him, many people have used this letter, or this entire letter has found in it. So some examples are in the book by Sayyid al-Shu'ba, in his book Tuhaf al-Uqul. This is one of those books, Tuhaf al-Uqul, that all of us should have in our houses, right? It's available in English. I'm not sure if it's in our bookstore here, but if you would go to the Bathurst JCC bookstore, it's there. It's a great, great book that has all the, I think all the 14 Masumeen, or I think except for maybe Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, but it has the 14 Masumeens, their brief, their most popular sayings, a little bit about their life. So in one book you have knowledge about all the Masumeen, and it's something that all of us should have. And it's one of the most quoted books. So they say, oh, I found it in Tuhaf al-Uqul. It's almost like that in itself is a certification of its authenticity because it was found in that book. So this letter is found in that book, and I said before because this book came before Sharif al-Radi. In the book by Qadi Nu'man al-Misri, in his book Da'aim al-Islam, even before, in Al-Najashi, in his book Al-Fahrast, which came after, this letter is there. And so because of the numerous different materials or sources that this letter is found in, no one denies its authenticity and everyone attributes it to Imam alayhi salam. What are the topics covered in this letter? It's interesting. I'm using, one of the books I'm using for these lectures, it's the Sharh. Sharh is basically an explanation, right? So it's a Sharh by Ayatollah Nasir Makaram Shirazi of Nahj al-Balagha. So Nahj al-Balagha is a book this big. Sayyid Nasir Makaram Shirazi has a 10-volume book on just the explanation of Nahj al-Balagha, and it's undone. So lucky for me, I like Sheikh Nasir Makaram Shirazi's work. He speaks to the layperson, I believe, and you don't get more lay than me, you know. So I need that book to understand what he's saying. He's not even done with it. So the 10th volume ends halfway through this letter. There is the most famous book by Ibn al-Hadid, which is 20 volumes, who was a Sunni Mu'tazili, I believe. And he has 20 volumes of tafsir of Nahj al-Balagha. So that's also there. But I like the one by Sheikh Nasir Makaram Shirazi. So my point of saying that is that Sheikh Nasir Makaram Shirazi, in his tafsir of this book, he brings 50 topics that are touched upon by the Imam alayhi salam. 50 topics, yeah? And each topic is not a topic that, okay, I can spend like 1 minute or one sentence. Each topic in itself, from my perspective, would be a lecture, right? Or some would be multiple lectures because of the depth of it. So now I don't want to go into all the topics that are covered, but the most predominant topic that is covered in this book has to do with leadership, yeah? And that's what makes this letter so amazing, right? The Imam alayhi salam is giving us the blueprint on how to be a leader, right? On how to be one who leads and guides other people in whatever capacity. It's not just about being the head of a government or being the head of a country or being the head of a jamaat. But for example, most of us are leaders in some way or another, right? We are leaders of our families. We are leaders of our children. We are leaders of our nafs, for example, right? That's how, you know, when we say there were 124,000 prophets, not every prophet was sent for a community or a people, right? Some were prophets for nations. Some were prophets for neighborhoods. Some were prophets for one house. Some were prophets just for themselves, right? That's how the number 124,000 is there. When we say there was always a prophet, there was always a prophet, but certain prophets' scope was different than other prophets. This letter talks about how to be a leader, and I felt that this was a really important topic, right? Because we see in the world that we live in what kind of leaders we have, especially in Islamic nations and in Islamic countries. What type of leaders have come out, right? Where in most instances, the leaders have been tyrants, the leaders have been dictators. And so you try and understand how is it that we as an Islamic religion or an Islamic or Muslim people have gone so far away from how to be a real leader the way the Imam alayhi salam has described. And also, I want us to really focus on this, right? Because all of us, inshallah, one day will be future leaders. Whether we're going to be leaders of this jamaat, or we're going to be leaders of some business, or we're going to be leaders of something, we need to know what the expectations are and how we are to act. And this is really an eye-opening letter that I hope you understand and read it from that perspective. The third is, let's look at the history behind this letter now. So the Imam alayhi salam wrote this letter number 53 in Nahj al-Balagha, as an instruction to Malik al-Ashtar when he was appointed the governor of Egypt in the year 38 after Hijrah. So the dates are important, okay? 38 after Hijrah, which is about 2 years prior to the Shahadat of the Imam. 38 after Hijrah is about 2 years after the Battle of Siffin. So what's basically happening is that after the Battle of Siffin in the year 36 after Hijrah, where because of the truce that was drawn that the Imam alayhi salam was not happy about, where they placed the Quran on a spear and did all of these things, because Muawiyah wasn't crushed the way it was intended for him to be crushed, Muawiyah gained a lot of confidence. Muawiyah gained a lot of traction. And so what Muawiyah decided to do was that he wanted to go and invade and overthrow Imam Ali alayhi salam's government in Egypt. Okay? So from Syria, he wanted to go down to Egypt and overthrow this government. In Egypt, the Imam alayhi salam had assigned Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, to be the governor of Egypt, right? But at the same time, in Egypt, there was a lot of dissent. There was the people who are known as the deserters. Why were they known as deserters? Because they deserted the Imam's allegiance. They didn't want to be with the Imam. And the reason they were in a form of dissent was because these were people who were loyal to Uthman. Okay? Muhammad bin Abu Bakr was one of the key people in the overthrow of Uthman. He tried everything he could to overthrow Uthman. And so the deserters took that as an opportunity to go against Muhammad bin Abu Bakr and in particular Imam Ali, because Imam Ali had appointed Muhammad bin Abu Bakr. So what Muawiyah did was that Muawiyah wanted Egypt. He knew that there were the deserters there who were not happy with Imam Ali. So he created a plan with the deserters to join the army of Amr ibn As to overthrow Muhammad bin Abu Bakr. Okay? So you understand the historical background? Muhammad bin Abu Bakr has been appointed by Imam Ali. Muawiyah wants to overthrow him. He makes a condition with the deserters who are already not happy with Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, and so they join forces together. When Imam Ali sees that Muawiyah has created this entire plan to overthrow Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, Imam alayhi salam decides that the only way to maintain and keep Egypt is by sending a strong governor to Egypt. And so he assigns Malik al-Ashtar to go. And this is where we see the Imam alayhi salam call Malik, and he gives him this responsibility to go to Egypt and be the governor of the Imam alayhi salam in there. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So that's the history behind this letter. But before we move on, as I said, today is a historical type of letter. Let's look at these two key personalities, because I think we're not familiar with one of them as much as we are with the other, and the other one almost is like a folk legend, So who is Malik? Right? Malik. The name in itself is very beautiful, isn't it? Malik, his full name is Malik bin Harith al-Nakhai. Malik bin Harith al-Nakhai, born in Yemen, okay, who later migrated to Kufa. And he is famously known as Malik al-Ashtar. Where does the name Ashtar come from, right? According to history, that in one of the battles, now the historians are split on this. They say either in the conquest of Rome or in the battle of Yarmouk, Malik had an arrow go into his eye, and it ripped out the veins of his eye. And from that day on, he began to be known as Ashtar. Ashtar comes from the word shatara, which means to destroy or to rip. And because his eye was ripped, he was honored with this title, that in defense of Islam, you lost an organ or a body part. So he was famously then known as Malik Ashtar, the one whose eye was basically ripped out. Again, interesting. I didn't know some of these historical anecdotes about his life. Malik is considered to be one of the closest and most loyal companions of the Imam alayhi salam, right? In fact, there's a hadith reported by our first Imam, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, where he says, Rahimallahu Malikan, that may Allah have mercy on Malik. فَلَقَدْ كَانَ لِي Kama kuntu li Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He said he held a position to me like I held with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi. That's an amazing status. That's an amazing status that was given to Malik. Malik obviously was known for his bravery. We are told that every battle that Imam Ali alayhi salam fought in, Malik accompanied the Imam in that battle, and his heroics were known throughout Arabia. People knew him. His reputation was one that preceded him, and therefore you could see why the Imam alayhi salam chose him to go to Egypt, because everybody knew about the reputation of Malik. But what's interesting about Malik is that historians tell us that Malik did not only copy himself or mimic himself after the bravery of Imam Ali, he also mimicked himself in the akhlaqi characteristics of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Yeah? So this wasn't just a man who was a brave warrior, but he was brave in being able to conquer his own desires and his own nafs. And especially those qualities of patience and forbearance. And this is something that I think we all have to kind of focus on, that this is a lesson for us, in that the true Shia, the real Shia, are not people who just because they're good at their sword or they're good at fighting, but a true Shia is one who can adopt the qualities of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, as polarizing as they may be. That imagine how tough you have to be able to fight in all of these battles. Imagine, that takes courage, right? It's not something that's easy. But at the same time, to be really forbearant and patient and forgiving simultaneously, it's very hard to have these qualities exist. And you see that the leaders of the Shia companions had these characteristics. There's a story that historians tell us, is that one day in Kufa, Malik was walking, but he was dressed in very humble clothing, almost like in rag sacks. When you have those big bushels of wheat or something they put in these sacks, right? Like when you have a sack race, kind of, right? But he had his clothes made of these sacks, basically. And there was a shopkeeper who didn't recognize Malik, so he had some old fruits and lettuce and things, so he threw them, almost taunting that man, right? Because maybe that's what people in power do to other people. I don't know, right? They bully people, right? Malik, he didn't say anything. He just kept walking. And then the next store owner came and he says, "Do you know who you just threw garbage on?" He says, "That's Malik al-Ashtar." And immediately the fear of God came into that man, right? And so he ran after Malik, and he found Malik in the mosque of Kufa. And after he waited for Malik to finish praying. And as soon as Malik finished praying, he came to him, he apologized. He's like, "I'm really sorry, I didn't realize it was you." And Malik responded back the following way. He says, "By Allah, I have come to the mosque to pray to Allah that He may forgive you. Yeah? For I had forgiven you the moment you had committed this crime against me." Yeah? What a beautiful characteristic from this man, who lets, it's a fine balance that you think about. When you have the ability to punish someone, like Malik would, yeah? You would think that this man could punish whenever he wanted. He could harm whenever he wanted. To have the ability to do so and not do so is what real courage in Islam is about. Right? To be able to control. It's not one who has the ability to hit, goes around hitting everything, but the ability who has the power to hit but controls themselves from not hitting, so that people can learn a different way. Imam talks about that in this letter very interestingly. We'll come to it. But Imam talks about how that if you have the ability to pardon or punish, always pardon. Always pardon, right? Because he says pardoning has a bigger effect on people than punishing, right? But then obviously we talk about then what type of person we're talking about either. But in most cases, to pardon is better than to punish. I think for parents this is a very important lesson. So Malik was called by the Imam alayhi salam, and at that time he was the governor of Nasibin, another area. Imam alayhi salam writes to him, he says to him, "Malik, appoint a deputy and come to see me right away." Malik comes to see the Imam alayhi salam right away. Imam gives him the appointment to be the governor of Egypt. He writes a letter to the people of Egypt to accept Malik as their governor, and from most instances we're told this is where he then writes this ahad, this order to Malik. And in this order, he writes to him how to act, how to treat people, who to have as your closest companions, and so forth and so on. At this time, right, Muawiyah gets the news that Malik al-Ashtar has been appointed as the governor. Now this changes the entire landscape for Muawiyah. Muawiyah knew that it would be very easy for him to overthrow Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, because the deserters already in the ground in Egypt already did not like Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, and therefore it would be easy to unite and overthrow them. But with Malik, the reputation alone of Malik would quiet down the people who had any problems with Malik. And so he decided, or he realized, that this was now requiring another way or another approach to deal with it. And so Muawiyah did what Muawiyah does, right? And he decided to take the matters into his own hands. And so he realized that Malik would be passing by the city of Arish to get to Misr, Egypt. And so what he did was he bribed the chief of Arish. And he said to him, you have a bunch of debt. Yeah? If you kill Malik, I will wipe away your debt. Yeah? So when Malik reaches Arish, they welcome him, the chief of the city welcomes him. He forces Malik out of out of kindness and out of goodness, I guess you can say, or pretend goodness, that you have to stay at my house, you have to be with me. Malik agrees. He offers Malik dinner, and after dinner he gives Malik poison in the form of honey. Yeah? Malik drinks that honey, and Malik dies before he even reaches Egypt. Right? That's something that many people didn't even know about this letter. They felt, when I spoke to them about this letter, they felt that Malik actually ruled over Egypt. But before Malik could even rule, and before these instructions could even be implemented, Malik was assassinated by Muawiyah. It is said that when the news of Malik's death reached Imam alayhi salam, the Imam was overcome with grief, at the death of Malik. And he said the following, he says, Rahimallahu Malikan, wa ma Malik, azza alayya bihi halikan. He says, Malik, and who was Malik? Yeah? Like, what do you know about Malik? He says that I am overcome with grief over the death of Malik. He says, if Malik was a stone, he was a hard and solid stone. And if he was a mountain, he was a great mountain which had no parallel. It seems his death has made me lifeless as well. This is a very beautiful poetry that Imam alayhi salam recites about Malik. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the next and the last point I want to discuss for today is the other key personality that we keep mentioning, and that is Muhammad bin Abu Bakr. Right? Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, he was one of the closest companions of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Right? And there's a lesson in here for us. I think there's a really important lesson here for us, because this is that Abu Bakr. Yeah? But Imam alayhi salam, for the fact that he took Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr, as one of his closest companions, and didn't say, well, your father did this and your father did that, so go away from me. I think there's a big lesson in there for us. Sometimes, because of our own prejudice, if someone has harmed me, that entire family is haram for me. Yeah? That entire lineage has become haram for me, right? And that is quite contrary to the sunnah of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When you hear the Prophet's name, especially his real name, you have to recite a salawat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And I think just imagine, it's not easy to do though, right? It's not easy to do. So for example, like I know you, and I know your father did some very heinous crime, as heinous as burning down the door of my wife, or slapping the face of my wife, right? And your father did all these things to me. It'd be very hard for me as this person to separate you from your father. Yeah? But that's what's amazing about our imams, it's so amazing that when we say that they have this ability to, I think it's the ability to compartmentalize things. It's a big gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this happened now. I don't ever have to forget zulm that was done to me. Never forget the zulm that was done to you. But we don't have to piggyback the zulm the rest of our lives. Only we are suffering, But compartmentalize it and move on. Never forget it so you learn from it. But compartmentalize, move on, and life would become easier. He was the son of Abu Bakr, the first caliph, and he was the mother of Asma bint Umais. Asma was one of the first female companions of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. She was first married to Jaffer H. When Jaffer died, or he was killed, she married then Abu Bakr. After Abu Bakr died, she married Imam Ali alayhi salam, right? And I think there's a lesson in this for us too, right? We have so many unfortunate cases of young widows, or not even young, just widows, or divorcees, who because of cultural prejudice will never get married again. When that has nothing in religion, right? In religion, you would encourage them to get married again, right? You would encourage them to not pause their life or stop their lives because their husband has left this world, And I think we have to go a long way to change the cultural mindset of this, It wouldn't be a bad idea for you guys to talk about your wives tonight, They say, hey, look, if I am to die, please marry somebody else. Don't be like those, like don't look at another man again. Don't be like that, right? Be pragmatic, right? Why should their life come to an end? Look at Asma is like a clear example, right? That after Jaffer At-Tayyar, she married Abu Bakr. After Abu Bakr, she married Imam Ali alayhi salam. We see this in a lot of other examples as well, right? It's not just this example, but we've seen this in many other examples, that this is not and never was considered to be like something that was distasteful or not permitted, but rather it was highly encouraged. When Abu Bakr died, Muhammad bin Abu Bakr was about under 3 years old, right? And so when he came into the house of the Imam alayhi salam, he basically spent his entire life in the house of the Imam. From the age of 3 until his death, he was with the Imam. And history tells us that the Imam loved him and regarded him as his own son. He never differentiated him, And again, historians also say that the place that he had in the Imam's heart is sometimes compared to the place that Abu Dharr had in the heart of the Prophet. Someone very dear, someone very close, someone he fully trusted. Imam alayhi salam trusted him so much that he made him the commander of a section of his army in the battles of Jamal and in the battles of Siffin. Again, so think about how old he must have been, right? He must have been, Siffin we said was 36. He must have been in his 20s, right? 25 years old. And Imam, at that age of 25, Imam trusted him to be the commander of a section of his army in that battle of, in the battles of Jamal and Siffin. I want to quote one hadith. This hadith comes from our 11th Imam, al-Askari alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. It says, قَدِمَ جَمَاعَةٌ فَاسْتَأْذَنُوا عَلَى الرِّضَا alayhi salam. That a group of people came into the presence of our 8th Imam alayhi salam. وَقَالُوا نَحْنُ مِنْ شِيعَةِ عَلِي. You understood that, yeah? They came to the Imam and they had the audacity to say, we are the Shia of Ali. فَمَنَعَهُمْ أَيَّامًا. The Imam did not see them for days. The Imam refused to meet them. ثُمَّ دَخَلُوا. لَمَّا دَخَلُوا. And when then finally they were allowed to enter, the Imam said to them, وَيْحَكُمْ. He says, woe to you. How can you claim to be the Shia of Ali? إِنَّمَا شِيعَةُ أَمِيرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. In fact, he says the only true Shia of Imam alayhi salam were Hassan and Hussein, was Salman, wa Abu Dhar, wa Miqdad, wa Ammar, wa Muhammad bin Abi Bakr. Yeah? That these were the only people who can honest to God consider themselves to be the Shia of Ali. Lam yukhalifu shay'an min awamirihi. That they never went against anything the Imam alayhi salam said. So I wanted to give us an idea, right, that this was this great person. So when the Imam alayhi salam decided to have Muhammad bin Abu Bakr removed from the governor as the governor of Egypt in place of Malik, it wasn't because the Imam didn't like Muhammad bin Abu Bakr. Imam loved Muhammad bin Abu Bakr. But there was somebody more capable for the job. Yeah? There was somebody who was more suitable for that particular time, especially when Muawiyah was about to attack. And therefore the Imam alayhi salam decided to have him removed. As we know, Malik never made it. Yeah? And because Malik never made it, Muawiyah under the army ruler of Amr ibn As attacked Egypt, and Muhammad bin Abu Bakr was killed in that battle as well at the age of 28 years old only. Yeah? At the age of 28, and again that's something really amazing, that at the age of 25 he was appointed as the governor of Egypt. And Egypt is no small city, right? Today we call Egypt, a country. But he was that much respected by the Imam that at the age of 25 he was given that governorship. But at the age of 28 he was killed by Muawiyah's army, and that is how Egypt went towards Muawiyah. We'll talk about the importance of Egypt in the Islamic Empire tomorrow if God gives us life, inshallah. But today, alhamdulillah, we covered the historical aspects of this letter. Tomorrow we get into the letter itself. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.